Are the Game of Thrones spin-offs in danger? Welcome to Nerdist News. I'm Dan Casey, and The Winds of Winter still isn't finished, but you already knew that. What you might not have known is there are several other Game of Thrones projects that might also never see the light of day. Following the success of House of the Dragon, or Hot D if you're nasty, it seemed like a surefire bet we'd be practically swimming in Game of Thrones spin-offs, kinda like Gendry, who, I guess he was rowing, so the simile kind of falls apart, kinda like some of these GOT spin-offs. Nailed it. On his not-a-blog, George R.R. Martin took a break from not finishing The Winds of Winter to provide an update on his year-end activities. And while the author acknowledged several times that he is in fact working on the long-delayed sixth book, he also provided some unexpected updates on the various Game of Thrones television shows they're developing with HBO Max. House of the Dragon has already been renewed for a second season, but Martin noted that none of the other shows have been greenlit yet. And that isn't necessarily bad in and of itself, but Martin noted that a couple projects have been shelved. The author remains hopeful, saying that they aren't necessarily dead because you can take something off the shelf as easily as you can put it on the shelf. Martin attributed this to the tumultuous climate and all the changes at HBO Max. And by changes, he means the unceremonious cancellation of series like Westworld, movies like Batgirl, yanking content off their streaming platform for tax write-downs, and axing a number of other promising projects in various stages of development. The latest victims, hundreds of Looney Tunes shorts and Flintstones episodes. And as someone who lives in New Mexico, it's understandable that George R.R. Martin might feel a kinship with someone who should have taken a left at Albuquerque. But what are the GOT spin-offs in question, and which ones stand a reasonable chance at actually moving forward? While we covered these in detail back in August, we're going to recap them and provide some insight as to which ones might actually climb that chaotic ladder out of development hell and into your living room. The Sea Snake. Remember Corlys Velaryon from Hot D? Of course you do! Before he stormed out of numerous small council meetings, he was the greatest seafarer and explorer in the history of the Seven Kingdoms. And while Steve Toussaint gave a terrific performance as Corlys on Hot D, this show would focus on a much younger version of the character as he earned his eponymous nickname. Now, I'd say this show is squarely in the middle of the pack in terms of probability for actually moving forward. A show focused on exploring lesser-known parts of Westeros, honestly, that sounds great. But who knows if the Sea Snake made enough of an impact on Hot D heads to warrant David Zaslav opening the Iron Bank of Braavos. 10,000 Ships. Created by Amanda Siegel, this show would tell the story behind one of the most legendary figures in all of Westerosi history, Princess Nymeria, the legendary warrior queen. She led her people from the Rhoynar out of Essos after the Valyrian Freehold conquered that region. She is Arya Stark's personal hero, the namesake of her direwolf, and we also saw Princess Nymeria's tale mentioned in House of the Dragon when Rhaenyra Targaryen and Alicent Hightower study the mythic hero's life and legacy. So, could this series be the next one to set sail at HBO Max? Honestly, it sounds like a more fully fleshed out concept than the Sea Snake, at least at this time, but given the fact that audiences have already met Corlys Velaryon and only heard of Nymeria in tale, this one might stay in the history books. The Golden Empire. Once again, House of the Dragon did its due diligence to lay the groundwork for potential sequels and spin-offs that get our hopes up, only to potentially dash them on the rocky shores of reality. Inspired by medieval China, the Golden Empire existed in the faraway land of Yi Ti. It was referenced briefly on Hot D by Aemond Targaryen when he and Criston Cole were searching for Aemond's missing brother Aegon, who was not at his usual haunt of baby UFC. Remember that? That was f***ed up. This series, which Martin confirmed would be an animated adaptation, sadly seems like it's one of the least likely to move forward given how much animation HBO Max seems to be shoving out the proverbial moon door.
Make the Batman fly!
A Knight of the Seven Kingdoms. Next up, we come to one of the entries I feel reasonably confident about, an adaptation of Martin's fantasy novellas about the adventures of Dunk and Egg. Dunk the Lunk may be thick as a castle wall, but he's also a hedge knight with a heart of gold. And Egg might seem like a precocious squire, but he's actually part of the royal family. You know, with Egg being an obvious nickname for Aegon.
Egg.
This show is in development as a live-action series helmed by Patriot creator Steve Conrad. And if it doesn't move forward, then I'm going to be even more disappointed than when I watched Game of Thrones Season 8. I'm sorry. I'm kidding, obviously. Can you imagine? I'm still not over that. Moving on. Snow. This might be the closest thing we have to a surefire bet, at least from a top-level marketing perspective. A Jon Snow sequel, which Kit Harington apparently conceived of himself from the ground up. Everyone's favorite secret Targaryen has even more stories to tell, especially about what happened to him after he left the Seven Kingdoms behind to venture beyond the Wall. Now, according to his co-star Emilia Clarke, it's been created by Kit as far as I can understand, so he's in it from the ground up. So what you'll be watching, hopefully if it happens, is certified by Kit Harington. Now, given the star power behind this show and the fact that Jon Snow is one of the most recognizable characters in global pop culture, it feels like this might actually be able to break through HBO Max's icy heart like a Valyrian steel blade through a White Walker to actually see the light of day. But then again, maybe we're like Jon Snow. We know nothing.
You do not know. No one knows.
Fleabottom. Last and decidedly least, there is Fleabottom, a mysterious project about Sir Davos Seaworth's old stomping grounds. Fleabottom is the poorest neighborhood in King's Landing, and it could provide fertile ground for storytelling, especially against the backdrop of the Seven Kingdoms' most significant location.
I think you need to understand this.
I'm ready.
Yeah.
Let's go.
But then again, maybe it'll just be a cooking show where they show you how to make different variations on a bowl of the brown each week. Either way, I expect this show to make like that Starbucks cup and promptly disappear. Anyway, folks, there you have it. Those are all the Game of Thrones spin-offs that were actively in development and their chances of living long enough to actually tell their tales. Of course, the tides of fortune in Hollywood are constantly shifting, so as Martin noted, just because a project has been shelved doesn't necessarily mean it's dead. What is dead may never die, it may get rebooted. While we keep waiting for Hot D Season 2, we'll keep you up to date on any other developments over on Nerdist. And if you want to delve even deeper into Game of Thrones lore, we've got you covered with our fantastic History of Thrones series from our resident Kristen Cole hater, our maester with the mostest, Michael Walsh. In the meantime though, folks, tell us, what do you think of this news? Which of these shows do you most want to see, and why?
You do not know. No one knows.
Let us know in the comments below, and for the latest and greatest in the world of pop culture, make sure you stay tuned to Nerdist.com.